It's time to get started here. First of all, I call to order, and we do have enough folks here to conduct court here. Opening prayer today, if you would all please stand. Pastor Linda Lewis of Mount Olive Baptist Church. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Could we all bow our heads for a word of prayer? Oh, gracious Master, today we thank you, oh Heavenly Father, for just being God that you are. And Lord God, as we prepare for this day, regardless of where we are, who we are, God, we are asking for your guidance on today, God, for your covering on today. That decisions that are made by this commissioner court, oh God, would be of an understanding, trust, honesty, oh God, open and honest communication, oh God, and the listeners, oh God, have open, honest mindset. Help them, oh God, to make the decisions that has to be made for this county, oh God, and surrounding counties. Oh God, bless each home that is represented here, oh God. And God, we will forever give you praise, glory, and honor, oh God. And bless everyone and staff for this courthouse, oh God. Give them protection. Thank you, oh Heavenly Father, for the things that they do to help better our community. And help us, oh God, as citizens, oh God, be able to be receptive to those things, oh God. We thank you, we praise you, we glorify you, God, for there is no God above you. And we thank you, God. In your name, Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay with us today if you like, or whatever you wish to do.
All right,
thank you. Now our pledges. Commissioner Sicking. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Well, thank everybody for being here today. Looks like we got pretty much a full house today. Do we have any public comments on agenda items to lead us off today?
So we do. Zach Cooper is here from the Valley View Fire Department, and he is going to speak on the radio communications.
Okay, I'll tell you, if you don't mind, let's wait until we get to that agenda item before you'll have your same amount of time and everything else, but we'll wait until we get to that agenda item, if you don't mind hanging around for quite a while this morning. All right. Item number 6 is the consent agenda, and that includes non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with a single vote. The judge or a commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as part of the regular agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review our consent agenda?
I make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, the motion has been made by Commissioner Arndt to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Skip all the way down to item number 7. We're going to open a public hearing at 10:05. Rezoning request for a variance by Brent Scoggin for 7.11 acres in the Edward Bradley survey, abstract number 33 at 1858 Elm Grove Road, Valley View. And Brent is here. Does anybody have any questions for Brent that you need to clarify? If not, We will close the public hearing at 10:05. Item number 9, deliberate and consider possible action on rezoning request and request for variance by Brent Scoggin for 7.11 acres in the Edward Bradley Survey, abstract number 33 at 1858 Elm Grove Road. Commissioner Snuggs.
I can't get my agenda to work, so I talked to it, but he's splitting up his land. How long have you owned that land, Brent?
I think it was also in 90, I built in 92.
He's splitting it off to sell off a couple parcels of it, and one of the parcels didn't meet the parcel that he's gonna stay on doesn't meet the 2.5 acres with the Lake Ray Roberts P&Z, but the P&Z board advisory committee sent it up with approval. So that's why he had to ask for the variance and come to us. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on it. You know, it's with him owning it that long, I have less of a problem with it than somebody who bought it in the last few years trying to do that, because that was, these rules were set up far after he bought it. I make a motion that we approve it. Anybody wants to talk about it?
The motion has been made by Commissioner Snuggs that we approve item number 9. Does anybody have any discussion or any further ideas on item number 9? If not, do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Hollowell. Okay, all in favor, signify by an aye.
Aye.
Anyone who has a problem with item number 9, signify by no. And there are none, so item number 9 passes 5-0. Item number 10, deliberate and consider possible approval of order of appointment for Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning Commission members for the period from February 1st, 2023 to January 31st, 2025. Commissioner Snuggs again.
Can't see the list, but we had to make one change because, yeah.
You want to, before we go any farther, is Christian?
It's,
You want-
I'll make it.
Okay,
I can't even get to anything.
okay.
I'm just making one change. The Stephen Martinez is going to take the place of Craig Vickers. It's been on there for a long time, but he's at the border with High Patrol, so he can't serve. So I make a motion we approve this, but I'll be back next court because one person has resigned. So I got, anybody else wants to volunteer to be on the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning? I need another person.
Zach, how about you? You want to be on the P&Z?
I give it to you, no firefighter.
No fire.
There's no time for that. But I make a motion we approve this list that we have right here.
And who is that list? Would you?
It is James Reed, Rosina Sullivan, James Moss, Stephen Martinez, and Nathan Sandman.
Okay.
And of course, City of Valley View sends a representative and City of Roadrunner to every meeting,
Right,
just for the people who don't know how that works.
right. Okay, we have a motion to approve that list that was just read, and did you approve that, Commissioner Hollowell? Second by Commissioner Hollowell. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no, and there are none. So, item number 10 passes 5-0. Item number 11, ratify letters of engagement with Teague, Knoll, and Perkins for review of development proposals for Flightman 428 Estates in Precinct 4 and Timber Ridge Developments in Precinct 1. And it's got my name there, but it's really not me. Commissioner Sicking, do you have something you'd like to say to that?
It's a pretty simple deal. I mean, we'll be adding culverts along the road.
Okay.
So I think we're still waiting for the paperwork to come back, actually.
Same thing goes for precinct 1. Mr. Hollowell, do you have any?
That's just to allow us to sign a contract with TMP to review a subdivision precinct 1 at Timber Ridge, so.
Okay, so there's nothing controversial about,
No, that could have been on the consent agenda.
all right. All right, do I hear a motion that we pass item number 11? Motion, Commissioner Snuggs. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item number 11 passes 5-0. All right, item number 12 is deliberate and consider possible forming a committee to designate courthouse space. What this has to do is with basically moving offices around one thing and another. I'll be one of those, Rick will be one of those, and do I have a volunteer from this body right here?
I'll volunteer.
Commissioner Snuggs volunteers, all right?
Will that committee come back to the court with their suggestions? Is
Yes.
that the plan?
Absolutely. I think that's the proper way to do that.
And we'll be soliciting opinions from other court members.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna hang a no soliciting sign.
You know, okay, this just brings to mind a question I have. This has my name after it right here, which I can kind of understand this one here. But we'll get to some items on the list that really were begun and activated and even passed long before my time. Is there any reason why my name is on these here? Was that a decision that was made in a previous court someplace, or should we have someone else's name on these?
Only the judge or commissioner can add an agenda item. It's just simply who asked to judge.
Right.
And usually by default, it would be the judge if
Okay.
not sure who added it, or, you know, if it's coming from one of the inner departments or something, it would be the judge by default.
Right. Well, for instance, just for instance, I'm not skipping down to it, but item number 22 as an example here. You know, I certainly didn't ask for that to be on,
It's just a recurring agenda item that,
okay,
and it just by default goes to the
by
judge.
default goes
Yep.
to me, okay.
Well, and typically in that case, you'd be interacting with the realtor, you'd come back and brief the court, so you would be the one to be getting updates, so it would come through you, I would think.
Okay,
Unless it's been delegated to somebody.
all right. Well, with that in mind, that answers my question. Item number 13, then, deliberate and consider possible landfills in Cooke County.
We never voted on 12.
We never did.
I make the motion to form the committee with you and Jason and Rick and whoever else.
It's Rick, Commissioner Snuggs, and myself. And that's your motion?
Yes.
All right, the motion's been made by Commissioner Arndt. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. So item number 12 passes 5-0. Item,
If the county does not have a certified area for landfill, they can come in anywhere and put it. So we need to get our heads together and pick an area and say that's the only place that can be, designated for landfill. Otherwise, they have to come to the Commissioners Court to have it approved. The way it is right now, they can come in, buy the land, put in a landfill. There's nothing we can do about it.
Probably the only place we can stop one is in the Lake Ray Roberts zoning area.
Well, either that or down close to Clear Creek was my first thought, or in the flood zone.
Well, I was saying the only place that we could stop one with our
Oh,
authority
yeah,
would be the
yeah.
Lake Ray Roberts area.
I
Anyway.
think probably what he heard in class, and I'm not sure we haven't talked about this before. If we will actually go designate a spot like he's talking about, like at Clear Creek, then if prior to somebody coming in, they would have to actually come to us and
Exactly.
interact with us and get an approval from us, rather than because we have nothing designated, they decide to put it next door to you. Is that, am I,
That's, yes.
Imagine people, you know, that are coming to me now because they're mad because their neighbors are putting RV parks in, they'll be mad if their neighbors are putting in trash disposal
Yeah.
slots that we can't stop.
it might be worth doing a word search on that, Judge, if Melissa got a minute to see, because I think we've talked about that and may have designated something, but it would have been 12, 15 years ago, probably.
Well,
Yeah, Vincent's out there.
let me say this, and maybe somebody here can back me up on this. Didn't we go through this in Cooke County, and it's probably been 15 years ago, where there was a proposed landfill, and I believe it's near Ledbetter's property or something like that, and didn't they have to go to a vote, a county vote to avoid?
I can't speak to it, Judge.
Okay, anybody have any corporate knowledge of that?
Many years ago. I
Well,
don't recall it, but you're right. It was out here on Tail
okay. And,
discussed.
and there was another one actually out south of 902 out here that was proposed at one time. It was out near Betty's property out that way out there. And if I'm not mistaken, a citizen bought that property just so they couldn't put a landfill out there. So it's occurred in the past. I think it's probably a good idea to do that.
It is. They come in and offer a big chunk of money for, there's not much you can do about it once it starts.
That's right.
So,
We'll probably just need to reach to Allison Bass and see what we need to
Yep.
do. It's probably just a matter of designating a zone of someplace that wouldn't affect anybody if that land were bought used. Like he said, someplace in the floodplain. They probably couldn't build it in the floodplain.
right.
Does anybody know what the life expectancy of, well, Tazewell, the landfill that we use now? I guess we still use that one, don't we?
You ought to be on the board, are you not?
Well, I haven't been approached by that yet. I should. I was before, and I should be now.
Yeah, I thought,
But we haven't come up with assignments yet, so.
I've seen them in and out of the judge's office getting checks signed, so,
Okay.
so I think
I used to do that.
your
that's right.
predecessors, yeah, I think you're on that board,
Yeah.
so.
I think I am too, but nobody's approached me yet, and so I will assume that I am a member of it, and
They
we'll
probably
go
don't
with
meet a
that.
whole lot whenever they meet. They'll reach out.
They don't.
You might reach out to Tazewell.
Okay, well, do you want to take this on then, Commissioner Sicken? Do you want to contact Allison, our attorney, and see what we need to do, and then bring that back to court with? Okay, and I think probably the best way to do that would be to bring it back to court, and let's put our heads together and see if there is a likely place for a landfill, if any. Okay?
It doesn't have to really be a likely place. We just need to designate
Exactly.
a spot. And
Okay.
so,
Okay, so item number 13 basically is no action, other than Commissioner Sicking will take on the responsibility of looking into the matter and moving on from there. Okay, item number 14. Deliberate and consider possible approval of the 2023 investment policy with changes to the investment committee paragraph. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, the investment committee is, that would be you, Patty?
That'll be the next item, what we're, I made the changes in the investment policy.
Okay.
So that y'all can approve the investment policy.
Wait a minute. Hang on just a second. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is to approve the investment policy itself, correct? Okay. And once again, that is my name on that, but who would be best to speak to
And
that?
as designee, well, whatever, I turned in that, and so you should have a copy of it,
Okay,
that paragraph in your packet.
okay. Has anybody had a chance to look at the investment policy and see if that makes,
I can't say about what we talked about.
Yeah, I was looking to see.
I'll go get that.
I have it here.
I'll read it.
Okay.
I have the
Oh, do you have it?
policy order change to pass down to sign.
Yeah,
which
that's
I'll
what we
approve it.
need.
We'll look
It
at
was
that.
just changing who the members.
Okay, that's not what,
This is just what they signed.
yeah, that's what they're gonna sign. I'll go get I'll read it to you.
okay,
It's the
well,
other
I'll tell you
side.
what, if, let's skip item number, let's skip item number 14 just for a moment. Let's go to item number 15, deliberate and consider possible appointing investment committee members, and maybe that should have been 14 and 14 should have been 15.
Judge, I can help you here.
Okay,
The paragraph that was altered says it's under investment committee, county treasurer as the investment officer together with the county judge or his designee, the county auditor and the commissioner shall be members of the investment committee. That was what was revised at our request during last court.
okay.
Move to approve.
Say again.
I said I'd make a motion, we approve.
Okay, motion Commissioner Hollowell to approve item number 14. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. And there are none. Item 14 passes 5-0, which brings us to 15. Deliberate and consider possible appointing investment committee members. And I believe, Commissioner Hollowell, are you the appointed member?
Right now, we don't have anybody on the court. Everybody vacated that was on it. I've been to the class, I qualified. But our two court members, as of January the 1st, we don't have anybody on the court.
Okay. Would you consider being one of the committee members then, if nominated?
Yes, sir.
All right, I nominate, we'll get to that in just a minute. And the designee, Commissioner Snuggs, would you consider to be my designee for the investment policy
Yes, sir.
committee? Okay. With that in mind, I would make the motion that Commissioner Hollowell be the court member and Commissioner Snuggs be the designee of the county judge. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Just went through and did it again.
There are none. Are you
I got it
still in
working. No, I got it working. I just went and did it again. It worked. Now I'm not in the dark anymore.
They're magic. Okay, item number 15, we did in fact appoint and designate a member and another member, and that item then has passed 5-0. Item number 16, deliberate and consider possible approval of interlocal agreement for radios between municipalities and Cooke County. And who best to speak to this? This interlocal agreement that we're talking about, is that the one where radios were given to municipalities or possibly given to municipalities? Is that the one where we need to determine who pays their?
Maybe Ray can shed a little light on it for us.
Okay, please, Ray.
Good morning. I believe that was all, item was brought by the sheriff last time, and it pertains to the 700 megahertz process of getting other radios on the core down in Denton and the fee that comes with that. I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, that y'all agreed that the cities that wanted to do that would incur that fee and pay it to the county, and I think that was to come up with an interlocal to do that.
This is just an example, but this would be the one that would go to Valley View, and then it would be modified in 1 cent to each incorporated city. That's what this is.
Okay. Didn't one of our cities come to the county and say they had joined or had bought the radios, let's put it that way, and wanting to know who would pay then, or we were wanting to know then who was gonna pay the core fee, the Denton County core? That's what you just,
What initially, the reason the sheriff brought this up, we've got municipalities that are now purchasing their own radios.
right,
He is the controlling authority on what gets on the SO 700 channel. And so without going through the sheriff's office, getting his approval, you could have all the 700 radios you wanted, but you're not gonna go to the sheriff's office channel. So anyway, there's a fee that we pay the county of Denton for use of their core system. And as so the sheriff is saying, hey, before I add these cities, I need to know who's gonna pay. It's gonna come out of my budget or whose budget, okay?
right.
And so we created this interlocal to be sent to each incorporated city that
So they
says,
pay
hey,
their own
here's the rules. If you add 3 radios, it's 3 times X, whatever the number is, Denton charges us, okay? And this was drafted for the court's approval. So then, if we approve it, then it will be sent off to the various incorporated cities for their representative to sign. And basically, the contract says they will pay per radio whatever the core cost is, but it will be paid to Cooke County. We will pay Denton, they will reimburse Cooke County.
Right. Okay. Item number 16.
Move to approve that, guys. If you like it, we need to make a motion.
That's what I was gonna do.
Oh, I thought you was moving to the next one. I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
I'm
item
sorry.
number 16, then, do I hear a motion to approve item number 16?
Move to approve.
All right. Commissioner Snuggs has made the motion to approve item number 16. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Second, Commissioner Hollowell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item 16 passes 5-0. Item number 17, deliberate and consider possible action on library facilities project. And he has gone to a funeral, so you got,
I know that he had a gentleman come on Friday and try to get another bid for the work. I don't know what resulted from that. We haven't received it. So we're still waiting on bids on the meeting room. The one that's in your package is for the bathrooms and the back room and that stuff, which you guys approved October, I believe it was. So I don't know, is it possible to start on that next step?
Is he getting another bid for this same project?
Yes.
yes,
So we don't need to take.
I don't know
He
if
is.
the bid,
He is.
he got one for the whole thing again? Because that, I don't know. The Woody bid was different than what I thought this bid was gonna be. I know we asked Justin to come and look at the meeting room and the back room, but my understanding was the bid that's in there is the one that already was submitted back in October and approved. That's why.
We didn't approve anything except doing it right in October. We didn't have any bids. We just talked about the
Oh, I thought he
expenditure.
had that bid from Woody back
I
then.
don't think so.
I don't.
I think
I
that
can't
was a
remember. I can't
conversation that says, hey, we
Okay.
agree to go make the the corrections or do the remodel work.
Okay.
My suggestion on this, if he's getting another bid, we take no action.
Yeah,
I
I don't,
think
yeah,
that's
I don't know
probably-
what's, he hasn't.
He
told me
did
whether
say that he
got
had
it or
another
not.
bid coming in this morning, which he had not yet received,
Okay,
and that I think probably the proper course of action is to take no action.
yeah, I would agree. He hasn't communicated with me,
We'll
so I
bring it
didn't
back.
know. Okay, thank you, you guys.
Bring this one back next court, Melissa. if you
I
would.
saw an email from him.
That was about the roof.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, but the guy's wanting a check, and it's what I understand. And if he wants to show up next week and get the check and hadn't been through court, he's not gonna get the check.
Right.
So-
And I can't answer to that either, because that's Ricky's,
You know,
you know, that invoice should not.
it's not in these bills. If it's not in these bills, and I don't know whether it is or not, but if somebody needs to ring the guy up and say if it's not in these bills, he can't just show up and get a check.
Sharon, do you know if
I think Shelley replied since we've been in here.
I'm sorry,
I think
Kim?
Shelley replied to the email.
Okay,
since we've been in
I've been
here.
busy since then. I don't-
Yeah, I saw something and it popped up. on my phone,
Yeah,
but I
she's
didn't-
already hit on it since if you submitted the invoice. So if
Right.
the invoice is not in this group,
I agree.
somebody needs to ring the guy up
yeah,
and say, hey, don't expect a check.
Right.
Because he's supposed to come and swap checks with us. He's supposed to get paid for the service. We're supposed to give him a check for, I'm sorry, he's supposed to pay for the damage, and we're supposed to give him a check and payment's what he's
For the work.
expecting. And we
Right.
can't hold up our end of that deal.
Do we know if he's paying the full amount?
Last word I heard.
He came last week, and I gave him all the stuff that we had submitted, the spreadsheet. He had only seen the spreadsheet, so I gave him copies and emailed him all the documentations with invoices of cost and photos I sent this morning for him. So he's got everything he needs. He hadn't received anything but just a total spreadsheet, so he wanted to check things out. He's happy with what he now has, and the company's happy, so they're gonna pay the amount, my understanding, which is on the spreadsheet. So, which is around 34,000, I think, total, off the top of my head.
I
So,
didn't know Rick had doubts if they was gonna pay the full amount or not last week. I'm just curious.
when he came last week, I think he was interested in looking and seeing about the shelving and some other stuff, because they had not seen pictures or anything, and so they were a little concerned about paying for stuff that they didn't understand. When he arrived last week, the security camera had been replaced, but I was able to show him the one it replaced. They had just replaced it the day before, so that's back in. I showed him the damage to the wood on the shelving and the metal shelving with the rust, and told him the books were there for him to look at. I don't know whether he and Ricky went over and looked at the boxes of books that were wet. I can't answer that question. But
Right.
I supplied him with all the documentation like you guys had, and since then, I emailed back and forth with him Friday night and again this morning, and he's fine with what he's
Okay.
got. And then that email, it sounds like today, that Ricky forwarded to us, is they're gonna pay for the amount. So
All right.
that's my understanding. Now, if you guys know anything different, but that's what my understanding is.
okay.
Does that answer you and you?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
I think the proper thing is take no action on that.
I agree, because.
On item 17. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Item number 18, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Fairground Road, Commissioner Sicking.
Y'all like, that's something you wanna say?
I'm Doug Smithson, and I'm representing the Cooke County Fire Association, but basically is to be as a member at the time when this road was put in and stuff. So I'm here to ask or answer any questions, history, or any documentation that I got to say. And I don't know whether or not, the last time I've got a handout of a quick summary of kind of the so may I approach? Y'all want to
Oh,
copy this?
absolutely.
Take one, pass one around.
Thank you, sir.
I'll have to read through it.
That's what I was thinking. Who won the prizes the other night?
But that was time, I can't remember her name.
It wasn't me.
Sorry.
Barbara and one other lady from Lindsay, and they split it.
Barbara here on Culberson Street.
Yeah.
Robert voted.
Yeah. They were down the final two and they split it. So it was all good. Good food too.
Okay.
Anyway, basically is, the history part of it is, several years ago, I guess, when Fair Board Association had land out there, the county bought the land, then stopped dealing and started putting the boulevard in. Then was going to do as a boulevard, turns out TxDOT would only allow you to do one entrance on it, so that kind of killed that. So anyway, the discussion part of it was the county was if we deeded 4 acres over to the county, then basically they would chip and seal it, and that way we just had one entrance on it. Now, as we see, a time has come now at the point with more activities and livestock out there, the possibility to put a fence up there to kind of as a barrier between what's coming to subdivision on Coral Drive and then also on Justice Boulevard and doing that. But in order to do that, we look at it that the county probably needs to deed the land back to the Fair Board Association. And then, we've had the agreement, we'll still have the interlocal agreement to, y'all use the facility when you need it, like any other organizations. And, main thing we do for is for the youth, junior livestock show and 4-H and any other organizations that need to use the facility up there. So I think what needs to be done now, my understanding is y'all need to have a public hearing, possibly close the road, see it that, put it on the agenda, and then you can make a decision what you want to do from there.
Any thoughts on this matter?
I'm gonna defer to Matt initially,
Well,
help if he needs it.
I'd kind of mentioned to Alan, possibly maybe getting a lease of some sort on north end up there, just in case we ever needed a parking lot. If we don't use it, it's no big deal, but who knows what's gonna happen down the road, 10 years or whatever. But other than that, I mean, it'd be fenced in, just use it like you do, wouldn't be nothing there, but if it ever came up where we needed it, we'd have a little access to it. That'd be something you would
I think
consider.
it'd be, agreeable to that, that north end, we don't really use it so much,
Right.
part of it. But, for a time period or something like that, if you need to lease it or something like that, we don't know what the future is,
Right.
20 years from now, we don't know. But, there was an initial deal about, us giving 4 acres. I don't think we're agreeable to that, because we gave it to y'all to begin with, so, anyway,
And chances are, if it's temporary and sporadic, they probably let us use it and not worry about it.
Alan, did you have any comments you wanted to make, or?
I agree with Matt on that, but at this time, we budgeted to move the fence down the east between the Justice Center Boulevard and ours. If we designate something at this time that would require us building another fence on the north end. So my thoughts is on it, if you do come back at a later date and you do need that, then at that time we address it. Because like I said, we've had an interlocal agreement with y'all for years. And we work together good. We appreciate all y'all do for us. So, the road is not going to be closed.
Right.
The road has 2 categories in it, and it's all for safety. I would hate to have somebody get hurt on Justice Center Boulevard, one of our deputies responded, and a kid have an animal loose and hit it, or somebody get down on Highway 82 and hit it. They've already had that problem at Sale Barn and Gainesville. That's why they've got cattle doors. That's why they have a fence where nothing can get out. So our whole deal is safety and getting out ahead of it before something should happen. So I don't have a problem problem with the fence down the east side, and, two cattle guards.
Yeah,
That's something that y'all got to discuss and decide. If you don't want cattle guards in it, give us our land back, and we'll go forward with it.
yeah. No,
But the
that's,
road will not be closed.
right. So where, in the median between the two roads, where are you looking at putting the fence?
On our property.
Okay, so it'll be on the west side of the
No,
power poles and
east side.
It's about,
power poles and all that?
It'll be west of the power pole.
Right, okay,
what are
yeah,
we talking about, 6 foot off that road on the east side?
okay.
If we don't put it there, those cattle guards, the two that we put in, was $20,000 each. That's $40,000. We would have to put in 5 cattle guards.
Right. No, I understand. I just was curious where it was gonna come out at. That's good.
We'll be on our property.
Matt, I would think if we don't do some kind of documentation though, you're gonna deal with this, there'll be some other group here having this conversation 3 or 4, 5 years down the road if we don't
Right.
do some kind of paper on it.
Yeah, just put it in the record what we do, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's either close the road and do like we typically do with the road closure and just give it back to the adjacent property owner.
That's what I would like.
Yeah.
Like-
And so Alan's using the term it won't be closed, but in reality, on paper,
Right,
it would be closed as
Right.
far as a county road.
yeah.
And I don't know that county road has ever had a number. See,
I can't find anything on it.
so,
It was a private road. Never was a county road. 'Cause even
Okay.
y'all's property until County Justice Boulevard didn't exist either.
Does precinct 4 blade it?
no,
It's
well,
paved.
they paved it at one point in time.
Well, that road's paved.
Yeah,
Which one?
It's chip.
Okay.
It's a chip and seal.
chip seal paved, yeah.
And that's what was done so that when the county was building their boulevard through there, they were using it to come and go down through there.
And I guess that's the only time it's ever used for,
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
but
So I guess we need to put it on for a public hearing next meeting, is that right?
I think what you do is they
Closing.
take a form, they go get 8 signatures on a petition, they come back with that petition, then we post it for 30 days each end of the road and say, hey, there'll be a public hearing on such and such date, and there's a timeline for that. And then we'll go pick up the petitions. You'll actually put the signs up, and then you'll go pick them up after the allotted time. Then we set the hearing date after the hearing.
Should the petition be for those that are in adjoining properties or anyone?
I think it says something to the effect of 8 people in the vicinity or in the precinct, or,
Okay.
but get the petition, read it, don't take my word
It's on
for
the
it.
forms and
It's on the
publications.
forms and
front
public.
page
Yep.
of our website.
Have to be in precinct 4.
Read it, Alan.
We'll read it. Thank you.
Yeah, read it, let's
Y'all
be
good with
sure. But I think if you want to close it, if that's the action you'd like to take, I think that's the process, is they bring us a petition with, I think it's 8 signatures, and we accept the petition, and you can go out and post it, and then 30 days later, we have the hearing, whatever it is. And I don't even know that I don't know that the posting on the road has to be for 30 days. Look at the timelines,
Okay.
fill in the blanks.
Who do we get the petition from?
Well, Melissa probably has it. If you don't get it, you can probably get it online, but I bet she,
It's right here on the,
On the website.
I just hate to work
on
off
the front
that.
page, it's on the forms,
Okay.
County website.
We'll find it and
under
work in
Commissioners
progress.
Court. Petition for road closing form.
Can you hit
I can-
print and send it to the judge's printer?
I don't have that printer set up. I can email it real quick.
Email it to me.
Yep, I can email it to you right now.
Thank you, sir.
You might email it to Matt too, just so he's,
Okay.
let's say, have to look for it, he just email it to you. and you'll
Okay,
have-
that'd
you'll
be
be looking
great.
what you're
Thank
looking at.
Any other questions, thoughts? No?
Y'all
Just
good
here
with that?
hanging out.
We're good.
All right.
Access.
Thank y'all.
Doug, what's your email?
I don't have it in my accounting, Joe.
D. Smithson at cookcat.org.
Cooke County.
All right, item 18, Commissioner Sicking, what say you? What are we gonna do here?
On the,
Just
I guess we'll have to, no action on it.
Well, do we need to mention something about, form to close the road and go through the action taken to close the road? That was my question.
Probably so, I guess.
I'll make the statement, the Fair Board was provided the information, process to close the road. Move on.
Okay,
We don't vote on anything, we don't have anything to vote on.
all right.
That suit you, Matt?
That sounds good.
Sounds good to me. So the Fair Board has then given us the information to close the road. Proper action will be taken to close the road. So further, there will be no further action taken on this one. It'll come back in a later court. Probably, didn't you say 30 days? Probably 2 courts from now, or?
Well, it'll be a court before they can get it back to
Right,
us.
right.
And then, I don't, we need
Did
to,
you say
we need
it
to
was
follow
30
whatever
days?
their rules are on that sheet. I don't want to
Okay.
recite that from memory. I'll make a mistake.
So it'll be, as soon as you can get it back, the next court, and then the appropriate amount of time after that, it'll come back up on court then for action.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Email sent.
Appreciate it. You're welcome to stay.
I appreciate my report.
Oh, okay.
Come on now.
I thought you were retiring.
August 31st.
What are you gonna do? It's not all that it's made out to be. Going fishing, okay. All right, item number 19, deliberate and consider possible action, possible approval of repairing monopole tower lighting issues. And we do have the, I'm sorry, Ray, go ahead.
I snuck around the pole.
There you go.
So I am still waiting on the second contractor to get up here and give us a bid, and I've sent the information back to the one that we got the bid from for an updated bid. So at this time, I will continue to extend the FAA notification on the tower and hope that at next court, we can have this item on the agenda again, and I'll have a better proposal for you. But at this time, no action, I think, on this.
Didn't we get a tentatively verbal approval from the city?
Yes, sir. We did have a meeting with the city, and they agreed to pay, if not all, a lot of that repair cost.
Right,
To
right.
maintain their status of operating on that tower now.
Okay, but at this time, we're not ready to take.
No, sir,
any action.
unfortunately, I don't think I have the right information to make that happen yet.
Okay, then. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Item number 19 then is no action. Thank you, Ray. Item number 20, deliberate and consider possible action regarding broadband services. Who would like to speak to this?
The only reason that's on the agenda is because it's one of those reoccurring things that
Okay.
we've had. We started it months ago.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get it back in front of the court because I know Jason and them are working on it. I don't know where they are. But if we pull it off the agenda, it'll be out of sight, out of mind if we're not careful. And Jason can talk to it if he has something. I know.
Okay.
Yeah, working on it's a strong word. Whenever it came before us, we decided to negotiate with, and I can't even remember the name of the
Nextlink.
company, Nextlink. And it got brushed under the table. I met with Jason Brinkley and Shelley last week just to talk about it. And whenever Shelley gets back from her trip, she's going to reach out to Nextlink and talk to them about it and see what they want to do. But we talked about it. The funding came up. Whenever we talked about doing it, we talked about using some of the COVID money, but there's
Well,
not
not
even
that-
any funding for it now.
by the time we really started talking about it, we'd already committed ARPA money to communications, okay? But is there a line item specifically budgeted for it? No, but there might well be contingency money out there.
Yeah, and there might be
So,
grant money,
and
there
we
might
gotta-
be other options. It seems like to me it's gonna end up getting switched around and changed up and everything probably due to funding, so. I don't know, that's where we're at right now. It'll probably be March before we even talk to Nextlink about it. Shelley knows the rules, so she's gonna reach out and talk to them, so.
But because we engaged them in the RFP, we can't talk to anybody else until we either eliminate Nextlink, or there's still a possibility you might use two vendors, one for, I think the first bullet item was broadband coverage. Broadband will be countywide is our goal. Again, I'm not the team guy on this, but our goal, what we done RFP with Nextlink because they've told us they can get some 90% coverage. I can hit Sherman Moore up and give us this if we want it. But,
Judge Starnes was leading this, and then
Sherman,
it kind of,
will you step up here just a minute, please?
decides, you got Rush County Road.
Did y'all want to say anything?
Yeah. What's the coverage that Nextlink is proposing in that RFP?
95%
95%.
at 100 megabits.
That's the technical side. So, but we did get RFPs from Nextlink and from Nortex. We got to get through the process on one before we can negotiate. I can't go do business with anybody else until we decide who we're going to use.
Right.
Okay, and like I said, the only reason it's here today is to get it back on the court, so we're getting it discussed and go from there.
We need to bring it back in next court, or?
I think we need to leave it on the agenda, but not necessarily anticipate Jason and them are gonna be ready to do anything, and then their answer is, here's where we're at, just like we usually do on anything else.
It
Okay,
just keeps it from getting brushed under the rug like it did here recently.
okay. Does that answer y'all's questions then?
I mean, if they want to say something.
Yeah, they can visit.
I mean, there's nothing preventing them from talking.
No,
Yeah, we just can't negotiate
Right.
content.
My only comments would be on the funding, what's happening at the state and federal level that's relevant to this. The state broadband office will soon release around $500 million to the state of Texas. They are putting forth the rules on that now. And of course, Cooke County or businesses in Cooke County could, pursue funding. However, it's unlikely that we would have access to that money because it's targeted first to unserved locations and then secondly to underserved. Unserved is 25 megs or less, underserved is 100 megs or less. And based on the federal map or the state map, Cooke County is 100% covered at the service level of 25 megs. We do have 15%, maybe 18% that's underserved, scattered across the county. After that money, there's another round of funding that comes from the federal level. It's the BEAD grant, and that's Texas is likely to, hadn't been determined yet, but it may have $3 to $5 billion available. If you all proceed with negotiating with Nextlink and sign an agreement with them, then that would therefore mean the county is completely covered and you would be excluded from pursuing any of that future funding. My understanding of the rules, just to give you an update.
and just to be clear, who seeks this money for?
It could be it could be a nonprofit, for-profit companies, it could be a county, or cooperative, it could be any body could pursue that, but most likely it's going to be individual businesses.
Okay.
the coverage map is deceiving, you know, it looks like we got 100% coverage, and
Right.
got so many people that.
They include satellite in that, and so it basically means the whole state.
I just want to speak to that for the people watching at home, like, there are lots of gaps, and just, unfortunately, we have more internet than a lot of other counties do, but it doesn't mean everybody's got good coverage.
All right. No action on item number 20. However, we'd like to bring that back again on,
Leave it on.
on the next, well, just bring that back as a continuing item until we get something done with it. Item number 21 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding Main Street parking lot. And I think this probably ought to be Commissioner Sicking on this.
Right at the minute, I don't have much to say. Shelley's been out and I have not been in contact with the
And Matt,
contractors, so.
On
We
that
do
one,
have
we have the paperwork in there from the city of Gainesville. It's the Appendix A zoning section 3.6.01B saying we do not need the sprinkler system.
Right.
You know, we don't have to have any landscaping, so that will save us a lot of money.
You don't have to bore that road.
And, yeah,
We don't have to pay to have the road bored.
so basically, we just need to visit with him and have him take all that off the quote, and we can probably get him kicked off. Get it going pretty quick.
I saw some email somewhere that talked about that we want the sod. But, we will put
We might,
some barrier down and put rock,
that's what I was thinking.
decorative rock or something, have to mow it and jack with it.
You
Yeah.
can't just be
Or
So-
concrete it, to be done with
You
it.
could be extra concrete, but
But that'll be on Matt to go negotiate that, I would guess.
Yeah.
And it should be considerably less money if in that original bid it was to bore under Weaver.
Yeah, and Shelley gets back and make sure we got the contract and everything all signed and get in contact with them.
All right, so item number 21 is no action. Item number 22 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Crest Building.
haven't heard anything from the realtor or anything.
Have not heard a word.
I spoke with her in passing, and she's expecting an offer. She's expecting an offer for 3 weeks. So, but she feels like it's going to come from our group out of Denton, but that's all I got.
Actually expecting an offer.
I think now expecting would probably be the wrong term, hoping.
Hoping, wishing.
On that, why do we not, what I understand, the elevator quit working, right?
I'm sorry?
The elevator had quit working after we purchased it.
I don't think so.
It works, it just needs, to be used as a daily people carrier, it just needs to be changed a little bit, because it's more of a freight elevator right now.
Okay, well, Rick had told me it quit working.
I don't know, let's check it. I hadn't heard that.
That's news.
I didn't want to ride in it because it's,
He had said that he checked with a couple different people, and it's like $450 an hour for them to come and check it out and see what's the matter with it. I mean, if that's the case, if it is not working, we need to have them check it out to see what it is. Otherwise, I mean, that's kind of the lifeline of the building if we're not.
yeah, we need to follow up on that.
That's first I've heard of that. I mean,
Maybe I misunderstood him, but I'm pretty sure.
you could be right on target, not you? Welcome to county government, not everything gets communicated.
Yeah, that should be information that we all know for sure. Make a note on my hand on that one.
Make it official, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at this time, there's no action on item number 22. Item number 23 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding county radio communication system. Commissioner Hollowell.
You got somebody wanting to speak in public comments?
Yeah.
Morning. I know I got about 5 minutes. In lieu of my other guy talking, and I might go over that by about 30 seconds. I tried to rehearse it, couldn't get it down. So first of all, thanks for letting me speak on this. I'm Zach Cooper.
State your name.
Yep, Zach Cooper with the Valley View Fire Department, Chief of Valley View Fire Department. So a couple years ago or so, the talks began about the county radio system updating, improving communication across the public sector of the county. This seemed like a great idea. The ability to communicate effectively and efficiently across all agencies is crucial to the life and safety of all first responders and ensures a better service and protection for our community. It's no secret that the radio coverage within Cooke County has suffered for some time, and that there's been a significant need for improvement. These talks of upgrading the system sounded good in the beginning. The volunteer fire departments of Cooke County consist of over 140 members. This makes up the biggest agency the county has. EMS has roughly 40 to 50 employees. In the CCSO Sheriff's Office, I'd be lying if I rattle off a number of daily radio communication needs, but I know it's pretty far from 140. The fire departments respond to a plethora of calls for service in the county. Medical calls, we respond with EMS, providing treatment prior to EMS arrival, and assist with care and transport when they do arrive. On regs, we secure the scene, provide initial assessment of patients. We control the traffic and personnel to ensure a safe area for the other first responders. We perform extrication of entangled patients, provide fire suppression, and then fires, that's the obvious one. Who else carries the equipment to not only put out the fires, but carries the gear to enter those structures to search for someone when they may be trapped? Deputies and EMS both do have their place at all these calls, but the fire burns and puts life and property at risk until the fire departments arrive to put out the flames. The fire departments respond to all search and rescue calls, and we show up in numbers with equipment. Nothing is more crucial to a search for a young child than many boots on the ground and the tools and equipment to search the areas. Any need the community has, the fire department is a crucial responder. We are all trained to do our job. We carry far more tools and equipment than any other agency in the county. There's countless different scenarios where the fire departments have been utilized for both emergency and non-emergency situations, both in the county and out. We've responded to disasters throughout the state. Multiple times we've deployed out to hurricanes and floods, or to West or South Texas and to Southern Oklahoma for wildfires. We work hand in hand with the EMS, Sheriff's Office, DPS, TxDOT, tow services, and anybody else that calls for us. Efficient and effective radio communication between all of us should be priority to our county leaders. When the radio system upgrades came about with the commissioners at the helm of the project, I assumed the fire departments would be contacted about the need. I assumed that the fire departments would be contacted about the needs of the fire departments. I was never consulted, and I know the other fire chiefs in the county never were either. The SO channel and then eventually the EMS channel were decided to go to a whole new system on 700 megahertz, but to leave the fire departments on VHF. First off, whose idea was it to split the communication ability between the first responder agencies? Yes, it is possible for SO and EMS to switch over to the fire channel, but if you truly knew how we operated on scenes, you would know that that is a very inefficient way to communicate. The fire departments are the backbone of the emergency response in the county. Second, the fire departments were handed a system with promises of better coverage for all radios. And I can tell you firsthand, that's a lie. 2 towers were added to the system, but not a single tower in the southern part of the county, where the majority of your fire responses are at. The system was never tested prior to implementing, and there is data presented from a certain company that made real big promises. To put it bluntly, the system does not work. The change to the updated system has caused significant risk and safety issue for our fire departments. I can't even reliably communicate with my own trucks and personnel, on calls. And since then, yes, testing and tuning have been performed, but the system still does not work. Like I stated in my letter to all of you last week, or 2 weeks ago, I invite any of you to ride with our fire department and see firsthand how terrible the communication is and how dangerous it is being on the highway, not being able to communicate with EMS, SO, DPS, or anyone for that matter. Over the ice storm a couple weeks ago, there were many instances where we had to rely on cell phone usage to communicate even within a few miles of each truck. What happened to the promise of better coverage? Is it still a work in progress? Because it's unacceptable. We operate in real time with real life emergencies every day. We cannot provide the services that we're expected to provide without efficient, reliable communication. At Valley View Fire alone, we cover over 12 miles of interstate highway, which is the busiest area of our district. I used to be able to talk on a handheld radio, although staticky, but I could communicate. Now a portable radio is pretty much out of the question in our area, and mobiles aren't much better, especially with the issue of the communications getting repeatedly cut off while transmitting. We were handed this poor system and told to deal with it. Not asked about it first, and now we're being told that our current radios are not compatible with the new system that was supposed to actually help us. The fire departments that respond when you need them were handed a system that puts our lives and yours in danger. There's over 140 members combined on these fire departments, and not a one of us was consulted on what radio improvements we needed. The fire departments of Cooke County matter. Munster Fire, Myra Fire, Ralston Fire, Era Fire, Moss Lake Fire, Lindsay Fire, Callisburg Fire, Indian Creek Fire, North Shore Fire, Gainesville Fire, and Valley View Fire, just as much as any other agency in Cooke County. Over 85% of firefighters in the United States are volunteer. We do the same thing as career to fire departments. All 140 plus of us are committed, trained, and equipped. We are professionals that deserve to be treated with respect, courtesy, and priority, just the same as other first responders in the county. Thank you. I'll be happy to
Thank
answer
you.
any questions you got.
Yeah, Zach, if you will, first, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you've been involved in this, and I appreciate the help you've been giving us. And you got a considerable amount of knowledge, and I appreciate that. You got any suggestions for solutions?
Put us all on the same system with a great coverage, something that's compatible with our radios and with every other responder in this county. And it's 700. If 700 is the greatest thing that's out there, and that's the greatest thing we can do for the other first responders, then why are the fire departments not included in it?
Do you realize if you had a 700 system, you still wouldn't be on the SO 700 channel?
It would give us the ability to communicate with EMS, and I'm going to bet you that once we start, if we were to go that route, once we presented our needs to the sheriff, it wouldn't take much to convince him that that need has been there for many years, and we have used that channel to go back and forth. And I don't think it would take very much to let him see why we would need the access to that channel.
You worked emergency services for years. Are you guys able to talk on anybody else's law enforcement primary channel?
Yes,
Where's
we can
that?
talk on Denton County. We have access to their channels. We've been told we can't.
But to their SO channel?
Yes, their SO and the Denton, City of Denton PD. We've been authorized to talk on Gainesville PD channel.
Is that volunteer fire
This is
department?
all on an as-needed basis. This is not something that we use every day. This is if we're on the highway and DPS doesn't have our fire channel, or the deputies are on their channels, we have always been able to call them for whatever needs we need. We need the lane shut down, somebody hits one of our trucks, we can holler at them. We don't have to go through and relay through dispatch. We have always been, since the county moved to a digital SO channel, and we dealt with this however many years ago that was, nobody would let the fire departments on the digital SO channel. When it first came out, we were not allowed on it. We weren't allowed to buy our own radios and be on the channel, and we talked and we came to an agreement that we are to be able to utilize the channel on an as-needed basis.
It's my understanding, even if we upgrade you guys to 700, you wouldn't be on the SO law channel.
Even if we could monitor it, but like I said, that would be a battle I'd be willing to, or not even a battle. I think that'd be a simple meeting saying, hey, we back your guys up on the highway and your guys back us up. We've been doing this for the last, however long we had digital radios, 15 years. We've been doing this. I think it'd be a simple meeting and saying, hey, this is why I think this is a good idea. I haven't spoken with them at all yet because right now it's not even an option.
I actually think that Motorola is working as we speak. After the last testing, did you think that it improved?
No.
Okay. I understand after the last testing, you and I, we were out there, and we talked on the radios. And immediately after that, you guys had an incident in Valley View and things went south and you couldn't communicate. A couple, three of us went back down there later and tried to reconstruct that, and we couldn't make it happen. And the only thing that we didn't have in our scenario was that apparatus. Is there any chance that apparatus has issues?
We've had the same issue with every one of our apparatus. I have a total of 9 mobile radios on my truck, and not even counting my portables because, like I said, that's out of the question on analog down there. I have a total of 9 mobile, 8 in-service mobile radios, and I've been on every truck since we've switched this, and every single truck has had a problem. I know that Callisburg has had the same problem. I know that Indian Creek has had the same problem. I know that North Shore has had the same problem. Munster has had the same problem. Your communication director has had the same problem in his radios. Every fire department has had this same problem, no matter which truck it is, which radio they're on.
Who's our communications director?
Not director, your communication supervisor. The one that has, Riley, that has multiple radios, access to multiple radios.
I know we've had that initially, but has that improved any after this last testing?
Tricky question. Has that improved any? Yes.
I'm not trying to trick you, please. I'm not.
It's a tricky question. Just like you said the other day when we were testing for about, however long it was that morning, it worked great. But then as soon as we got a call, I went from my personal vehicle to our fire engine, and I had the same problem in both trucks. Immediately after we tested it, it was fine. And you're right, y'all went back out there, I was listening, and I never got the chop like we had before. How comfortable would that make you feel if you're responding to a fire or you have a emergency incident that you need us to come to, and it works this time, but I don't know if it's going to work this time. It might, but it might not. And over the weekend, fortunately, we did not have very many calls. Other departments did, and after speaking with them this morning, those departments also experienced the same problems.
I've heard Munster had some issues where they couldn't talk vehicle to vehicle.
No.
Okay. I can tell you Motorola's still working. A lot of folks don't know it. We hadn't been at 100% capacity since the beginning. We're only running on 2 towers as we speak. They are at, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead, bud. I'm good.
Please.
The Walnut Bend Tower and the Sills Bend Tower are set up at receive only right now because they're putting out, well, particularly Walnut Bend, it's putting out so much power. It was what was causing the issues at Valley View, okay? We had a cable that's loose. I think they climbed the tower, are climbing the tower today or tomorrow to fix a cable so that they can reactivate the transmit side of Sybil's Bend. At some point here, they're also adjusting launch times as far as when it receives and transmits. They're going to put some delays in it. They're going to turn Walnut Bend back on and begin to increase the power to see, so we may hear some more interruptions. It may affect you guys again, but they're going to take it up to a certain point to see how we can turn it up without causing a problem at Valley View. What else? They run some type of hydromat process for coverage. They will utilize that to help adjust these launch times.
What does the launch times mean?
You're getting a little deep for me, but apparently when the transmitter hits the repeater, they can set the time somehow, and you may know more about this
to
than...
put it the way I've been explained it, and simply is when you key up your radio, you have so many milliseconds or time before it will actually throw that transmission out, and each tower has a different time that it will throw it out, basically, I think is how I understand it. And so they're adjusting, they've been working on the timing of all those towers so that they're not all trying to compete for the same transmit.
Well, and what it's doing, they've been doing this, they haven't done this hydromat process. That's an engineering process that they've been doing and studying and checking coverages. So, and I've been assured by Motorola that they're not going to leave us until they peak it out. They're going to get a peak performance out of the VHF system. And of course, the VHF system affects more than just fire. It's commissioners, it's emergency management and those things. Nick, you got something?
How long did it take for the sheriff's office system to be up and running properly?
I'm sorry?
How long did it take for their system to be put up and running properly?
You guys know what the cutover date was. I mean, we started the
I don't keep
process
it.
over 2 years ago, Nick.
The 7-800 they put up this recently, it's up and running.
Oh, I mean,
How long did it take that to get put in and run?
I guess over 2 years, if I understand the question.
So
It worked from day one.
Yeah, well, actually,
I mean, for the radios to be put in, towers up, start working.
2 years.
Yeah, a little over 2 years.
So still, we're 50 days into us on the fire side, we're still having problems, but they don't have a problem at all. That's what a lot of us are.
Well, the VHF apparently takes considerably more tweaking because we've done what's called a simulcast system. You and I have typically talked on either radio to radio, which is, as I understand, a conventional process. We use a repeater in the last several years, hit the repeater, that gleans us more distance. But we've done it with 1 or 2 antennas. Now we got 4 antennas in the mix, so you know, fill the skies with signals, so to speak.
And they still don't work with 4 antennas.
Well,
Doesn't work properly, I'm sorry.
yeah, and we're 45 or 50 days into the process. You know, and now it's at a technical level, physically, other than the cable off the tower. I need one more tower to have in my mind, but cable at Civil Bend having an issue. As far as I know, unless somebody knows something I don't know, the tower should be complete. Okay. Did that answer your question, Nick?
Good enough.
Let me ask a question or two, not having been here during all this time. If all 3 emergency departments had been essentially treated equally in the beginning, in your opinion, would there be a problem right now?
No.
Okay.
The 700 channel for EMS and SO, aside from a few just minor radio programming issues, to my understanding has worked crystal clear since the data switched.
Okay. In the beginning, considering that all 3 departments are, let's just say everybody's equally important. I mean, we can't have one without the other, and for my own benefit, why were the volunteer fire departments not treated the same as the EMS and the SO? And not having been here, I don't know, so.
I can't answer that.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been anything they could answer. Whenever Motorola pitched it to us, we originally, the talk was to put the department on 700. And then the EMS came later date. I don't remember why that was done. But the promise from Motorola was that the existing people that would stay on VHF would have far superior coverage than they did to start with
As good or better.
As good or better. And that was Motorola's promise. So, I mean, it's all on Motorola's back right now, but it's a mess. And it's like, where do we draw the line at? You know,
Well, see, that's the part I don't understand. If they said, here's what you want for your SO, this is a good thing, your SO needs this, and we'll try something different for the fire departments or EMS or whatever. Why weren't they just all treated the same? Is it a cost issue or?
How many other fire departments are running 700, do you know? I know you.
So I respond all over pretty much the whole state in my career job. There is a good mix of everybody that runs. So all of your big municipalities, even our mutual aid municipalities, Sanger, Crum, Highland Point, they run 800. Just about every large department, fire department, is on a 700-800 system. There are several counties that have switched, kind of like Cooke County started, where they took everything, they put it on 700. They took, in fact, I know this because several years back, Hood County switched all theirs to 7, and we were able to pick up a lot of the radios for, a cheaper price, and the same thing as what the county had been giving us anyways. So, I couldn't put a number on it, but there's a ton of them. We carry in our, on my radio system we have VHF, UHF, 700, 800, 900. And it's a good mix of, we're going through 2,000 channels though. So but we go to all different departments, and it just depends where you're
talking about with your full-time job?
Yes. So,
It's paying gig.
yeah, so, but we talked to a lot of fire departments, and so I just, from the knowledge, just bring that experience with me, I have the knowledge that there is a significant use of 700-800 systems out there.
I had one of the fire chiefs there in one of our meetings one night, and he's out of Denton or somewhere, and he's saying, hey, we talk to Denton PD or Denton SO all the time. I said, on their primary. He said, no, not on the primary, it's on an interoperable channel. I'm sorry, you want to speak, sir?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, I can talk on that Denton County deal right there.
Speak to him, please.
Yes, sir. So we do everything on operable channels in Denton County. We get dispatched on the Denton County primary channel, but then everything from there moves to the operable channels. So they've got probably 20 channels that we can use, but that's why on the Denton primary.
If you will, and we got lax today, Judge, but anytime somebody gets that microphone, we need them to identify themselves.
So, yeah, Madison Pierce, Assistant Chief of Valley.
Okay.
So,
He also works for Denton County Department, so he's got experience.
In what?
I'm full-time in Denton County at a fire department, so.
At fire?
Yes.
Okay. And y'all can key up on SO primary law, not their interoperable.
Yes, so yeah, they give us permission to everything now. So that way we do, because it's more of a big scenario. Like, if, I don't want to give scenarios to panic everybody, but you get somewhere and on that big scenario, we gotta have the ability to talk to everybody. And that's kind of the concern here too, is even on a big scenario with EMS Rex or something, we can't talk to EMS and let them know, hey, we got 5 patients here. Stuff, people that are out in the fields and stuff from Rex, we can't even do that. They have to, it can go through dispatch and then be relayed back to them. But we used to, hey, we're out here in the Milo field with 3 patients, come to us. Okay, cool, but we can't do that.
And see, something that we've done a poor job of educating, what should happen and what should be communicated is when ultimately they're going to vacate the SO digital channel. Okay? That should become the county's interoperability channel because everybody and their brother has that currently. So you're going to have, I absolutely believe you're going to have as good or better analog than you've had until we decide to go digital. I understand that's being considered. I don't have a real issue with that, depending on money and stuff of that nature. But what that should do is free that up. And then when you're out there on 35, everybody goes to the interoperability channel. Or when
It doesn't happen.
it doesn't happen because it hasn't been communicated, it's not been practiced. Because we haven't had that luxury, is what I understand. But that's a digital channel. And the sheriff, he's already said, he had no problem at all. We've got most of the municipalities, Valley View, Oak Ridge, they're getting their 700 radios. And when they get their 700 radios, they won't be using that as their primary.
So on that operable channel that you're speaking about, is it just one channel? So if we have structure fire, Big Wreck in Valley View, monster truck, structure fire, Big Wreck, and Callisburg's got something big going on, we're all 3 gonna be on that operable channel?
Well,
talking over each other?
Don't you typically go to a ground channel?
Yes, sir, but we have more than one.
I understand.
So we can assign them. But the ground channel, is that operable channel that you're speaking of monitored through our dispatch?
Absolutely.
So that's gonna be confusing because you could have several incidents and it's all going through one channel and dispatch is listening. That's what I'm saying, you don't have options.
Take these ice days we had. Every department was out at Valley View at one time. We were on 4 or 5 different wrecks at one time, trying to talk to SO and trying to talk to the deputies. And we had to relay everything to the back. We had to call dispatch on our cell phone for a lot of it and to call our other trucks. But you have, just in our district, you have 4 or 5 scenarios going on at once.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
Whenever, I understand, and that's what I said in my comment letter that I read in the beginning was, yes, they can switch over to this channel, but it's such an inefficient, well, DPS can't. DPS doesn't have like our other channels.
We're working on that.
And DPS is kind of like how we are with our other jobs is, how many channels do they have in the radio? They don't scan anything. They have to manually go through and select it. Same thing with SO. If dispatch is trying to talk to them on the SO channel, they're going to have to go through and manually select our fire channel or whatever op channel, and they're going to miss what info is coming from dispatch. The most efficient way, if anybody would have came and asked us about this 2 years ago, we would have told you, the most efficient way is put us all on the same frequency, give us the interop capability that we can talk on them if we need to, because the most efficient, your fire departments know the area, they're the first ones on scene. They're the ones that are running command on these large incidents. You get a big wreck, it's got multiple patients, you get a disaster where your fire departments are the ones that are running the command on these scenes. We need the ability to access all these other channels.
But you go back to your scenario, if you've only got one channel and everybody's running on it, you just got 2 dispatchers. 2 dispatchers can't handle but so much.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And you go back to, what did you do before they went to 700? You had one channel. If you wanted SO, you had one channel. So nothing's changed other than law enforcement's off out here being able to do whatever they're doing. Y'all working an incident in Valley View. Well, law enforcement's working something critical in Callisburg. They can stay on their 700. They can do their law enforcement business and not be interrupted and interrupting y'all's transmissions back to dispatch.
And what do we do when we need them? If we need another ambulance and we need them to go somewhere else, or we need a deputy or a trooper to block the highway for us so we don't get hit, how are we supposed to tell them that?
Well,
Relay it through dispatch and get hit in the meantime while they're trying to relay it back to them?
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. In your same scenario, even 2 dispatchers can monitor more than one operable channel. But that, we gotta have that option, so then we can still move people. It's done in everywhere, so it's still can be done, but if you put everybody on one operable channel, like you said, we're all gonna be on top of each other if we get multiple things. So we gotta have options, if that's the road we're gonna go down. But we don't have that option.
But we've actually increased capacity versus decreased capacity. The issue is you guys can't talk on the law enforcement.
You have not increased our capacity at all. You have decreased ours by taking a full agency and putting them on a different channel. 2 agencies and putting them on a channel that we cannot access.
Well,
That is decreasing our abilities.
what little study and knowledge I have on 700 and fire departments, when you're buying 700, you're buying capacity. Capacity is expensive. Fire departments use considerably more radio capacity than any other agency, because when you guys hit a fire scene, you may talk for 4 hours. And while y'all are doing that, nobody else is doing business, So you have to buy more capacity for volunteer fire departments in general than you do law enforcement. Law enforcement gets on it, they're dispatched, they go to the scene, they check out, So there's a lot of use. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to cut you off either, but jog my memory, when we originally talked, EMS was gonna stay VHF. Why did that get changed? I don't remember.
Best I recall, we saved a
And
ton
so
of
this has
money.
been 2 years through COVID, so, I mean, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like,
mean,
I
and
feel
some of
like
this,
an idiot for not remembering, but it's like, it's so many things that go on in the day-to-day world, so.
And that's my recollection. We saved about $100,000 on training. And we converted that into radios, equipment for EMS. Okay, so.
Because my experience with the fire is it's never been with, Valley View definitely has the I-35 in their deal, and they do business differently daily than like me and Nick did. On our fire, I deal with EMS more than we would deal with law enforcement. So I can't even remember why I would have been okay with that conversation now, because my experience being in the fire service was we talked to EMS a lot on our calls, so. And when it was, so in my defense, when it was brought to us, like, oh, EMS can just switch the channel, which, I know it sounds easy, but it does create an issue,
It takes them
And
off
to
their
me,
priority.
there can be some
guys,
education and some things that go on to make that better that hasn't happened yet. So, I mean, there are some in the tunnel, but
as things get brought to my attention directly, instead of through 50 other channels, I try to go deal with them. I went to see Wes last week. Wes was on vacation. My suggestion to Wes is going to be, when you get dispatched to a Valley View for an incident, fire's already en route, switch over to fire. Be ready for them when you get there, okay? If there's issues with the fire channel, then go to the interoperability channel. Would you occasionally have to go to dispatch and say, hey, guys, we can't communicate, have them switch over to the interoperability channel, or whatever other channel you want? You guys got some VMed channels. these radios, we bought dual band for a reason, is so they could deal with 700 or switch over. There's probably 150 channels in these radios. There's an interoperability channel out there to work on if we just get to it. So some of it's lack of communication, some of it's lack of training. The big issue is if you want to create everybody equal, you got to come up with about $1 million.
Well, I know I got a
There's
text.
only two dispatchers, so when they got a call, we got a call, Marshall got a call, somebody else got a call, and he's trying to talk to EMS, so he's got to call dispatch, they got to call dispatch, I got to call dispatch, for them to relay everything to EMS while they're trying to answer 911 and put all stuff in computers, so dispatch stuff, it just turns it all into a bigger mess.
Well, but the
And
thing
it's
is,
like when you in school, you know, you sit there and say, purple elephant, and it comes out over here, red giraffe. So just because I tell them what I want, don't mean it's gonna be relayed the same.
yeah, but we have to be careful because they in theory are prioritizing their response to law enforcement out there, okay? You guys can't self-dispatch them. You can't call 214 and say, come see me. You gotta go to dispatch.
I'm more worried.
If I'm on the highway and
Working.
I switch over to the SO channel and I say I need somebody to block this lane before we get hit, I guarantee you somebody moves into that spot and they're gonna talk to us directly. That's how it's been for the last 20 years.
On the SO, what now?
Or EMS. And
Which
EMS,
what happened, should happen now the same way if we convert that to an interoperable channel.
but I can't talk on the SO channel. If
The SO
you're
is
saying, like I said, I invite you to come ride with us when we're running calls on the highway and tell me that that works.
I worked law enforcement 35 years, so it's all naive. to
I'm
me.
asking you to come ride with
I'm saying
Bellevue
if
Fire
we work
Department.
together on this, we can work the kinks out, guys.
Well, that
think-
goes back to my first question is, why did SO and then eventually EMS get new equipment or treated the way they did and the fire was not? Why were you left out?
They were never intended to be left out. I can only speak for me, okay? They were never intended to be left out. There was an intent to make a proprietary channel for the SO, for law enforcement. And that's where the rub comes in, okay? And I don't know that I know how to fix that because that is gonna be an SO law channel designated law enforcement.
Apparently there's other issues. I got a text yesterday from Munster Fire Department, was on fire. And they could only talk to dispatch, they could not talk truck to truck.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And that's
that
the
may
main
be-
problem right now.
Yeah.
Well, and see, I hadn't really been hearing that. I hadn't been hearing.
Larry,
what
it's been
to-
going on since we got on it.
Okay.
I've been saying something every day since I
Yeah,
switched.
well, but typically, they can talk to dispatch. Your issue is usually close proximity, right? It hadn't been talking to dispatch.
No, we can, you just said they could talk to dispatch.
But
They
couldn't
couldn't talk to the truck.
Right, and, okay.
Which has been the problem.
So, which is just like, you know, I got a big structure fire, or in Dexter, we had one on Christmas Eve. I had Sherwood Shores, John, we're gonna come down. I had Sherwood Shores, Lindsay, Sherwood Shores, Riceboro, Gordonville, Gainesville, and us coming. Well, not everybody can talk on this new channel. And everybody, you know, you always say, go to the ground channel, we're on fire, go to the ground channel. Well, the ground channel only reaches 2 or 3 miles. You know, and I'm trying to talk to a tanker that's coming out and saying, hey, I need you to come in from this direction or this direction, it doesn't, I can't talk.
Wasn't that the issue that, though they didn't have our west side channel? They didn't have a west side fire channel. They've always run off the east side, right?
And then take it to our,
But the point is the truck marks. I can't talk to the other truck.
But in that
That's where I wanna
scenario, it's right over the crossover, wasn't it?
Whether
okay,
they got the
so,
right channel or not, that's fine, but I cannot tell them where I want them to
so
do,
let's
or I
skip
want
that
them to stay.
scenario and let's go back to the scenario I mentioned in my letter I sent to y'all 2 weeks ago when we were on the ice. We all have the same channel. I could not talk to my truck that was 2 miles away from me.
Yeah, and did you happen to try your ground channel in with the ground channel work?
Yeah, we know the limits of our ground channel because we
But-
know our
I'm
radios
just
and they
trying to
don't,
process of elimination.
if there's a hill or a building in between it, it's not gonna work.
And then, did you try the SO primary?
Eventually, we went to the SO primary channel and used that while we were on the highway.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been told by the sheriff, he has absolutely no issue with that. So, I think if we will work toward a solution, I mean, it's easy for me to go find the problems and pick at things, but I think if we work toward a solution, we can work it out. It'll be the court's decision on how much money they want to spend and 700 and how they want to fund it. But 700 would be a tremendous, in my opinion, tremendous, maybe.
So what do we need to do to fix the problem?
Put us on
Right.
700. To fix both issues, put us on 700 with dual band radios. To fix the current issue that we can't even talk to each other, I don't know. We've been talking about that. I don't, because that's not the fix. You're saying what I've been told is, well, the fire departments will never be on 700. It's like, I said, we'll go out, we'll buy our own radio. I don't mind buying a few radios here and there. Like, we'll put in grants, we'll do that, but I'm not allowed on those channels. And fire department, I was told in the future, the fire department will never be on 700.
And I absolutely agree with
So
that.
I don't want to,
Not, well, 700 block. Now, let's be sure we're clear. I don't think you'll ever be on 700 block.
Saying I disagree with
I'm not talking about law. I told you if we got 700 radios, I will go have that conversation. I will deal with that when that time comes. I'm talking about being able to talk to my other guys from truck to truck. Because the system we have now does not work.
Obviously, we have
It's a
issues.
work in progress,
But-
and that will take me to a whole different question of why was this not tested before it was handed to us? You're talking about your busiest agency in the county, and nothing, it was just handed to us, said, well, this is what we're gonna give you, deal with it.
Well, I don't think, I mean, I think we included you on trying to address any issues. Is that correct?
Exactly, you tried
Well, but
to correct it.
I'm not sure we're done. I'm telling you, Motorola's here as we speak. They're continuing to work it. Now, I absolutely am concerned that they can get analog as good as it's going to get, and we're not going to be satisfied because ultimately, we're still not going to be able to talk to the sheriff's office on the sheriff's office primary on 700.
So if I go to 700, I'll deal with that when I get there.
Well,
But to be able to
if we
communicate-
spend $1 million and took you 700, the sheriff's going to control whether or not you speak on the law channel. And if he says no, then I spent $1 million.
I can talk to EMS and I can talk to my guys that are 2 miles away from me.
What we need to do is educate some folks and get EMS to switch to you guys.
On every call that we run on, so every call EMS goes on, the fire department runs with them.
And EMS has got to be able to still talk on that channel because they got to check in out to the hospital, check out of the hospital. So that's putting a lot of traffic on, I guess, this operable channel that you're calling it.
EMS is going to talk to the hospital, I would think, on I'm sorry, they won't talk on 700. They'll talk on
to
VMed
dispatch.
10.
They don't talk to the hospital. They actually can't talk to the hospital right now because we never upgraded NTMC.
That's because I talked to the EMS director and he said they didn't need it.
So, but that's okay, but yeah, you're putting all this radio traffic on this one
You're-
operable channel.
You're saying for EMS to switch over and talk, to be able to talk to the fire departments on every call we get, because every call EMS runs, the fire department runs with them.
As a general rule, usually you guys
And I
get
take
that
that
first.
back, there's a couple of departments that do not run medicals.
Yeah.
But they run the wrecks and they run the fires.
But our handhelds in EMS right now are good enough, they could leave their handheld on their primary. Their radio has two, they have a home button and a priority button on those radios. One of those buttons they can set up where all they gotta do is hit a button and go straight to fire. Okay, if they're on the fire channel, then they can set any other channel they want up as
You can't talk on the fire channel,
a priority channel.
What's the priority channel?
the EMS. He's
Well,
talking about priority.
they can, these radios can have a first and second home channel if you will.
That's how ours are programmed currently.
Yeah, so, but, guys,
I invite you, once again, to come ride with us for a day and tell me how well that works.
well,
Deal with 2 radios in a truck. While you're driving to a call and you have to deal with 2 different radios now, you have this one on EMS channel, you got this one on fire channel. Not to mention the portable's probably on your hip that you're sitting in the seat and it's probably going to push buttons while you're sitting there and you never turn it on until you get out of that truck.
yeah, well, again, I can come up with 50 scenarios why it won't work.
I can come up with a lot more.
So, but I don't know that it's constructive conversation.
No, it's not but this time it's not.
You know.
And that's not what I meant to get into it here.
So, And
You asked,
I mean-
you asked us for a fix, and I told you, what needs to
Well,
happen.
and I'm glad you did, because you're very candid, and you're absolutely right. 700 is what we're talking about equal. And if the court's willing to go spend that, then, but I right now think it would be premature on our part. And then, of course, I guess, with no reason for us to even consider going digital, if 700 is a golden nugget.
Well, considering that it should have been done equally to start with.
Well, there was 5 men here at the
And-
time, didn't think so.
No, well,
Yeah, well, but it was money, Judge.
That's all right. We're talking a little bit more than money here, okay? We're talking lives, we're talking property, we're talking, and if it's my fire, I'm not gonna worry about how much money the county spent or didn't spend or anything like that. To me, it seems like we ought to be trying to think about how to fix this
Don't disagree.
rather than worry about money and one thing and another, okay?
So,
Just me. But you gotta understand, I'm coming at this from a severe disadvantage. Wasn't here a year and a half ago when all
Many
this
are
started.
not.
And I just, to me, it's clear. It needs to be equal, okay? To me, that's the fix.
okay, so, and I respect that.
Yeah.
So right now, since you talked to Motorola, and, I mean, Gary knows I came to him and said, hey, like, Motorola's not jumping through hoops right now, that's a serious problem, he said they are. So what, I know they keep saying they're gonna fix it, they're gonna fix it, they're gonna fix it, and I know they're up against, they got their back up against the wall. But I mean, they deal with radio systems every day, they have to they have to know that these guys aren't talking to each, or can't talk to each other. What do they say about that? Do they, I mean, you said the VP of Motorola called you, so, and I just found out that this morning. So what does he say about it? I mean, like, they know how critical it is, so it's,
Their goal is to modify the system, whatever that means at this point, to bring analog to its peak, or VHF to its peak. Right now, it's analog. Can I give you every detail? Absolutely not.
right, no, and I understand.
Do I
It's just,
believe
to
that?
me, it's like,
They're a big company, and they have pulled resources in here, and engineers and staff. And they've had an engineer assigned to it, not here in Cooke County, because he's doing it on a computer, but he's running studies and stuff of that nature. So I believe they're working on it. I think whenever they say it's the best it can be, or the best they can get it, they'll come to us, and,
why don't we just scrap the analog deal and get out of it, go to digital,
I got a question.
until we can get money to go to 700?
I don't think we're interested in that.
Let me remind the court and the public that every fire department is currently almost 100% digital capable, and we have been for a number of years. We all have digital radios already mounted and already in service.
Can we
These
try
digital
that?
radios are now we are being told are not compatible with this system, which was never checked in the first place, which I stated earlier. We have digital radios.
Well, the goal initially, that they wouldn't have checked those to see if they're gonna work digital, because the initial goal was it's gonna go analog. So, wouldn't have been, but I'm told now that they've been tested, and
We tested on the Kenwood digital on commissioners, and it worked where we were. Not saying that it's perfect, but
well,
it's got to be better than this analog. This analog it's horrible. I'm on an $8,000 radio, and I can't even hear them talking when I'm at my house. I mean,
it
I can
was
hear
interesting
I can hear
testing.
Montague. I can hear Grayson County.
It was interesting test we did the other day, where I was sitting at North Shore on a handheld, Fletcher's sitting at Ralston, and I'm talking to him off that handheld at Ralston.
On digital.
No, on VHF.
When he was out there the other day,
We
you
did
find
try,
that
we,
good?
I'll tell you this,
That
we
was
didn't,
not
we didn't
good.
talk anywhere, and correct me, Ray, don't let me tell a story. We didn't talk anywhere on digital that we didn't talk on VHF analog. Yeah, come on, Will.
Which
Now,
was
was
better?
it as distinct? No, but it was
No, it's
absolutely walking
Well,
all across the county.
and you can do that anywhere in the county, anytime.
Well, apparently, we have some issues, Judge. I
It seems
mean,
like the radio tests are going well, and then when the calls go out, it's not working.
I was sitting in a county barn the other day, and we had a guy,
Is that early in the
Fort Worth, he was at 407. I'm inside the county barn on a handheld radio, talking to him at 407. So, we got a heck of a signal out there, we just gotta bridle it. I'm sorry.
And so my understanding, Ray Fletcher, County Emergency Manager and Fire Marshal, that with the system, the simulcast system in the analog mode, if you are in an unconflicted area, which the corners we were in probably were less conflicted because they're very distinctly oriented toward the towers, the coverage or the transmission on the analog VHF is good. It was good quality from there. The problem is if you're listening, and that's my understanding that it is how it's transmitted back out, if you are listening and in a conflicted area where towers are competing to put that signal in there, we may hear each other good where you wouldn't hear us good. Now dispatch is always going to hear everybody good and transmit good because they're on a wireline connection. They're not having to fight that. So that's why we hear that, dispatch sometimes or most of the time doesn't have an issue when others might. And there will be times when we could talk great, but somebody else at another spot wouldn't be able to hear us. And so, the goal should always be, since 9/11 was very well highlighted, that emergency communications need to be universal. Everybody should be able to hear each other. That doesn't mean you should be on the other's frequency all the time, but the situational awareness you glean, especially if you're trying to manage these incidents, by being able to hear what's going on, is very significant. And the ability to reach into those other disciplines from a command perspective especially, and advise them of something in particular that you just heard. So the ability across the board to be able to listen and selectively talk, if you need to, but that you can do that is significant. And nobody's asked my opinion, but I would suggest if I had my druthers, I would do everything in a digital simulcast mode. I think it makes us, at least at this time, it would be the least expensive and still keep us connected to our mutual aid partners for the most part, to the north, east, and west. For those that do go down to Denton, we have the ability to use video that we are. Likelihood that we end up in one of those could happen at any time, or one person could be in there and one couldn't be, but they've continued to work on trying to reduce those and make those as manageable as they can, but my understanding is that in an analog capacity, they will be there. In a digital capacity, the system has the ability to work through those, and while they may still be there, the voice transmission won't be as damaging as it is and would be pretty clear. So again, the argument to use digital as much as we can, where we can.
So, you know,
There's a lot rattling around up here.
I mean, at this point it is. And of course, we also know we're never gonna have 100% coverage, whether it's digital or analog. There are gonna be those dead spots, I'm sorry.
So Zach said most of the departments already have your digital in the trucks.
So we had
But
worked.
what about the handhelds? Like
We had worked, the county has, through the years, either through outright budget approval or through our grants throughout the years, Homeland Security grants, to make sure that all the police departments, discounting Gainesville, because they have their own capacity and programs in the city that they deal with. We take care of the other parts of the county. So the 5 incorporated communities, the unincorporated areas, the volunteer fire departments, and the small police departments have all had digital capable radios for 10 years, 15 years, both handheld and mobile. We have, as the county, tried to make sure that they had at least a mobile radio in all of their vehicle or apparatus, and at least one more portable radio to go with that. And that's ended up, over the years, they've had at least 2. Now, some went forward and got better and more substantial radios that were more fire-rated, interior, and true, many of these aren't, but that wasn't the point. The point was to establish a broad communications process that we could contact and stay in touch with everybody all the time. And so, using the sheriff's office digital frequency, which has been there in that way for probably 10 years, that was in everybody's radio, and everybody had the ability to listen and transmit while they didn't, but they could still hear it, and if they needed to get on there, they could.
If that's the case, why is the number that's being thrown out like $300,000 to get radios?
If, and then he may, I'll let you, but so we looked at, there was an inventory of how many departments, so there's approximately 60 apparatus total. Of those, I believe it was about 40 already had the capability, and that was with the understanding that Kenwood radios would not work on the digital Motorola simulcast system. So that those departments that didn't have mobile radios that weren't Kenwood would have to be replaced. And so that was where the number came up with approximately 20 mobile radios. Portable radios are probably a higher number. The portables we had that were Motorola's were the original ones we had purchased in the first few years prior to probably 2010 or 12. And since then, it's been Kenwood digital radios. So that's where and end of life and those considerations, which radio is good enough to be on that digital system if that were to happen.
I think the numbers we ran the other day, excluding Kenwood, we needed about 70 handhelds.
Yes,
But now if we go back and put Kenwoods in that mix, that number drops drastically.
Yes, sir.
So,
Like I said, I don't know, it was just a little test we did, and it was very short, just to see compared to the analog to it. Did you think it worked better?
Testing the Kenwood digital, mobile and portable, was crystal clear.
did you go back and?
We have not, like you said, we have not done any extensive. We programmed a couple Kenwood radios to it, threw it in a different bank, and just tried it out just where we were in the few minutes we had. And in spots that I couldn't even raise the tower on the analog, I had crystal clear communication both ways. That's on the simulcast system with the Kenwood.
When my crew member goes out on a radio test, he's talking on the Kenwood radio. Charles has got Kenwood radio on his truck.
He's on Kenwood VHF, yeah.
With the Commissioner Digital
No,
channel?
we don't.
So we're talking about like we did the Commissioner Digital?
We haven't tested on digital, but every test we've done has been on.
Even prior to that, kicking out the simulcast system, we have far better communication on that SO digital channel than we've ever had on any other channel.
Right, and it's now available, so that's a plus. I think nobody else would think that's a plus. Unless somebody sees some action out of this, we've kicked this horse.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been thinking every day when I want to draw the line in the sand. I keep hoping Motorola's gonna.
I was ready a month and a half ago.
Well, I agree with that, but at the same time, I keep thinking Motorola's gonna come in, and then I just feel like,
I mean,
probably
guys,
some things I can't say in public on video, what I want to think about Motorola and warranty on this deal, but they're definitely gonna, it's frustrating.
My last comment to you guys, and like I said, I really appreciate you having us up here, giving us the chance to speak excessively about this.
Of course.
In the 50-ish days since we switched, Valley alone has ran almost 80 calls, and the system is just not working. So but I appreciate y'all letting us
But please understand, we're working on it, and guys, I appreciate you. I mean, we can't get by without you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Madison and Nick and Zach. So, what do we do?
I think you take no action right now.
I think I make the motion that we have Motorola go out and turn all these radios to digital and turn on the county fire digital and go.
Well, that would, all right, here's what we need to do if we're gonna start looking at digital. The digital is absolutely no part of the statement of work with Motorola in the current contract. So we need to come back, put it on the agenda as whatever.
It's
Make
not
magic
part
go
of this
digital.
mess that we're in right now.
They don't know us nothing to go digital, much less program any radios.
They ain't gonna get the analog fixed.
Well, okay, let's assume they don't. So let's do some positive thinking. I mean, guys, if we want
Well,
to
I'm
go
like
digital.
this, Gary, we've been going 50 days. We get one of them guys killed out on the road, it could be me. I'm out. I'm dead. We gotta fix it. We're 50 days in.
It's more like 60 at this point.
Well, it's
13.
more like, I don't know, 25 years since I've been in the department, that thing's been crap, but that's all right. But we're here now, and we're gonna put it on another 2 weeks. Let's get somebody in here, I don't care if it's Tom Parker or Wesley, change these radios to digital, get everybody on board, show them how to work it, turn it on, and let's go.
And I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but if
Second my motion.
no, it's not on an agenda item.
It is too.
This is not part of the Motorola. We've got a contract with Motorola. This is Motorola Communications.
Zach, you had something?
So, Valley Fire Department does not have a contract with anybody. I program all my own Kenwood radios. I will offer my Kenwood programming to any other department that needs it to fix this. We don't have a contract. The fire departments don't have a contract. We can do it at the police department radios.
With your Kenwoods, anything won't, but I caution you, I mean, I appreciate that, and that's up to you and the court and everybody else. You don't want to go out there with some on digital and some on analog, because then you're gonna get somebody hurt. And we were told, the Kenwood, what you might try is go try to find you a central location between two towers and try it. That seems to be the issue, is they have such a broad reception, a broad band, or whatever the term is, that they do fine until you get them strategically located between two towers, and then they're trying to receive from both.
On digital.
On digital simulcast.
Has it done on SO? Digital.
SO is not simulcast.
Why isn't it?
Never has been.
So we could still have that problem over there if that's going to be our interoperable channel.
No, but if you're trying to talk to the SO in a non-simulcast mode with Kenwood, it's not an issue.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that so where's that tower at that it's located on?
Pentex.
Okay. So if they're in Callisburg or Dexter, it might not reach there.
The sheriff's office been working on it for years. Same radio, same deal. Sheriff's office had these Kenwood.
Why wouldn't we enhance that to simulcast?
Because there's only one tower. You gotta have
Well, isn't
multiple
there a
towers.
computer at each one of these deals that have all that in there? Don't you just flip
I
switches?
thought every tower is gonna have one. I would second your motion right now, but I can't because we don't have the numbers to do it in the budget.
Is Ray still here?
Stuff. But we don't.
We may not need any money. We could walk, we may.
Fletcher, is there money in your budget to get these radios taken care of? No, sir.
That's my only holdup, and I'd like to figure. I need more information. I'm with you. I'm ready to draw a line in the sand.
And I'm not even opposed to it, but we gotta do it right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And now then, especially, it's a whole different beast if folks want to accept the risk of the Kenwoods. You know, it's a whole different beast because they can probably go digital.
It's a whole different beast with what they got now.
I'm talking about, at some point, finances come into play and where we're gonna get money. If it's you know, if the Kenwoods don't come to plan, we say we had to come up with 70 portable digitals, good ones, that's about $3,000
So
a
then we get a
piece.
bunch of them out of the sheriff's department?
No.
Don't
Not,
get
well,
any
it depends
out
on
of
whether
the
you want Motorola's or do you want Kenwoods.
I'm saying the Kenwoods are working, let's try them.
Well, and again, if
Gotta
you
be
want,
better than what we got.
if you want to, there's 31 Kenwood mobiles out there, and there's 21 handhelds. I'm telling you guys, I don't sit on my tail and do nothing.
No, I got the deal right
I
here.
mean, I try to run the numbers and do something analytically. And, you know, we were looking at needing 4 mobiles the other day to take care of the apparatuses, and that was without Kenwoods in the picture. So it sounds like that the majority of the departments could go digital. All they need to do is be programmed digital. Because all the hardware, the towers and all that's going to accommodate that. It is set up, that particular channel is set up on all 4 towers. The frequency for the SO digital is not licensed on the 4 towers because the thought process was ultimately, initially, we thought once all the municipalities got on 700, we would keep CCSO digital for a while. And if it ever got cost prohibitive, then we would do away with it. But now it turns in by accident, it ends up probably a good interoperability choice.
Zach, this is gonna be an open-ended question here, and maybe not very smart, but keep in mind, I'm kind of new to this. I really don't want to just do no action on this thing, okay? I think you guys are hanging it out all the time, and I do wish that there was something we could fix right now. What can we do right now to at least help the situation while we're working toward a final solution?
And my suggestion would be to get the digital tested a little bit more like we started the other day. Like I said, we switched to a simulcast digital test of chemicals. Initially, there was no chemicals we're not compatible. Speaking to other radio experts that I know, they said, yeah, it should work. The problem is Motorola trying to tell you that you only got to use their stuff. So we tested it in the same exact area where I've had problems with the analog. So I would say an immediate fix is get that tested and get the switch over.
Okay, that's something,
If it works as good as what we think it will work, switch that fire channel to digital simulcast.
that doesn't right now cost us anything or anything like
I don't
that.
know how many departments have any analog only radios. I don't think they're great. You know if there's anybody that has analog only in their truck?
No, nobody does.
Okay, so every department has a digital radio in their truck.
So everybody can
And
do
it's most
this.
likely it's gonna be a Motorola or a Kenwood.
Yes.
Okay,
Everybody has that. Portables, there's a good mix out there of different kinds. The Motorola portables are gonna take longer to program, but the Kenwoods, like I said, I'll offer for nothing. I'll go around and program all these radios and switch them to digital. What I did on my personal radios is I just added a bank to it, that way I had no channels that switch over to it. We'll talk about it, test it. So,
okay. Is this something we could do right now?
Judge, we don't control what they do. I mean, they can do it. I believe you can take your action to program your radio.
the county would have to program the dispatch console to open up, and the repeaters to open up that digital channel for us to be able to talk.
It's there.
The repeaters is on dispatch. I don't believe dispatch is monitoring it. I think something, the right people aren't here to ask for that. I think dispatch would have to reprogram something as well. I don't think it's on there.
Pretty simple. I don't see that being a problem.
That wouldn't cost you anything at this moment.
Okay,
And I don't doubt that,
Or minimal reprogramming. Motorola's going to charge you, nickel and dime every time they reprogram radio. So,
well, I don't
but as far as
necessarily.
Kenwoods go, I've got stuff to do Kenwood radios we have all over.
so then contrary to my previous statement then, if the county took no action at this time, brought it back in 2 weeks, let's say, or 2 courts, no, I'm sorry, 2 weeks, 1 court, can the fire departments take it upon themselves to do this testing that you're talking about?
I believe we could, between the,
And what do you need from the county?
I would say we program, I don't even care who it is, if it's Ray or, you know, if y'all wanna switch over to it, and we go test it like we did the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Ray,
I
Just
think,
like we've been doing.
yeah, I think you do that before you go convert them all.
I 100% agree, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, if you
Okay.
test it and it works, there's your fix for, your temporary fix.
My understanding, they were tested at a county that had 3 tower sites, and there wasn't an issue until they got midpoint between them. That's what I'm talking
On digital.
on digital simulcast,
So
not digital.
I'd like to test it in different areas. and
But
see.
before you go spend your time, and then personally, I still like to know what the financial impact is, because if you go test them and it doesn't work, then we're looking at 60 or 70 handhelds, and we're looking at a couple of $100,000, and then the court needs to decide where that's gonna come from. And meanwhile, Motorola's still working, and we will see if analog becomes acceptable at some point.
I would be happy to work with him to develop a somewhat objective test protocol to make sure we get the areas where we've noted problems before and get a few radios.
I mean, we've been working, I'll help you guys if I can. I don't have an issue with that at all.
The other thing I would just want to reiterate to everyone is to understand that if you're using the simulcast fire channel frequency in analog or digital, you're using it. There is only one, whether you use it digitally or analog. So we have to be careful of that if you're gonna go out there and do this, that we know that those aren't separate. That is one frequency. It's just the mode you're using.
But they don't communicate with each other. The analog
That's
guy
correct.
can't talk
Yes,
to the
sir.
digital
That's my
guy.
point is.
So would there need to be like a cutover date, like?
Not until he tests them. Let's test it first.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, you can't
Yes.
have some of the people running on the digital. and some
Right,
people
that's the
running on
problem.
analog.
Except what
I
they're
would suggest,
testing.
like I said, program a few radios. I would almost say we go ahead and just take the fire channel and code it to digital. Because I know we're testing the commissioners, which is supposed to be exactly the same, but we've already realized they're not. Would it be beneficial to go ahead and code a digital fire channel into these few radios and test it?
Zach, do you
I think
have to include dispatch? Because what we're really trying to
Just
identify.
repeaters.
Dispatch isn't gonna matter because they're on the line. They're on the hard line.
Yeah, and so if that needs to happen, if somebody will contact me, I'll get a hold of Motorola if we need to make that happen, just to activate Fire Digital.
I'm not sure if the fire digital is active on
The repeaters may already be in mixed mode. If they are,
Well,
then
I think they are
We'll
because.
just have to watch if somebody's on call. If somebody's on call, we're just, have to make sure we're not testing while that call's out.
Absolutely.
Because it will take up that channel.
Well, and see, he can probably set it up just like Commissioner's channel is right now. In our radios, we have a digital version, we have an analog version.
That's how-
Now, and people think all of a sudden, oh, the commissioners, who are they to have digital? We don't have digital, guys, any more than y'all do. We don't have enough radios. We have the capability, but we don't have the radios to make that happen.
I'm good with that. I'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Well, in 2 weeks down the road, we'll put it on the agenda, and it would be my thinking.
You understand what it's talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You want to make a motion?
We don't need to take an action, Judge.
Do what?
We don't need to take an action. It's not our action, it's gonna be theirs. Right?
Well,
Well, we'll just let them do what they need to do.
Okay.
I'll be involved and help too.
you guys you guys know what you need to do. Can you get that done? It doesn't cost you anything and everything else. Okay, and if we take no action today, it's with the understanding that we really plan to do something soon, okay? Fix your problem.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And if nothing's done soon, you can come back and talk to Adam. He'll take care of it.
I'll be involved with them.
There you go. All right.
Deeply.
All right then.
Help me with it, I know you do too.
All right then, after all of this, and thank you very much for being here and putting up with it. And you guys too, you sat through all this too and didn't say a word. Joey, it's not like you. Yeah. Okay, good deal. Item number 23 then is no action. And once again, thanks a lot for being here. Madison, if that's my fire, it's gonna be your fire too, you know that.
Yes, y'all, we
All
got
right.
you.
Okay, all right.
Thank y'all.
All right, 24, deliberate and consider possible action regarding real property on Highway 82. Commissioner Hollowell, limelight again.
Let's just table that. We're working on descriptions to put it out for bids, what I think. But it's another one of those that we just need to put it back on the agenda so it doesn't fall through the
Okay.
cracks.
You got it, okay.
That, that,
Item number 24 is no action.
You got a question?
that property went to.
Storage buildings on it. Okay.
Item number 24 is no action. 25 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding the annex. And once again, that says me, but I think that's probably more correctly you.
Guys, the signs came in today. They started putting them up. They've got 8 or 10 that are good. The others, you probably can't even see it, but they're blemished down the sides.
Yeah.
So they're.
If you hold it light, yeah.
But when you put it against the wall over, you don't hardly see it, but you can tell it's not.
Yep.
They're gonna send them back.
Okay.
So we're looking at a couple of 3 weeks maybe delay.
I see the deal.
That's the contractor still doing
Okay.
that. I don't know, you're asking me as far as who the vendor might be, Judge, I can't tell you. I don't
That's
know.
all right. That's
The other, and it's important we get these up because we're having a little bit of an issue of people taping stuff on the walls. You know, just writing something on a sheet, and taping it on the wall, and it don't look real good.
I'll get the word out, I'll visit.
And then I guess they came in today to put some of these up, and they went in one of the offices, and it's been peeled off, and the person just took it and stuck it to the wall.
All right, I'll take it upon myself.
And the other thing that I would ask is that if people want to nail something, screw something, change the configuration of the building over there, that it needs to go through facilities and not just individuals bringing their drills in and starting to work.
And I have a question about the annex line. Is that just include what's been done upstairs, or does this annex include the election room? What work needs to be done on it?
I think we've forgotten all about you, Pam.
You know, believe it or not.
That's not true.
The election room and, correct me if I'm wrong here, it goes back to what we were talking about, property space,
Well-
that sort of thing.
It would, but that's already been decided, that's why we built what we built upstairs. She's
Okay.
gonna get the election room and that
Okay.
storage room. and
Hers is earmarked.
We're not gonna jerk that,
Rick just wanted me to put it on the agenda, but I didn't know if this was the.
Well, that'll cover it.
We
Yeah,
could
that's
discuss it.
fine because it's part of this. I mean, we
He's
built
starting to get some
upstairs.
quotes, and he just thought we needed to let all y'all know kind of what was going on.
Yeah.
With
like
that.
the court-
what
unless
his
the-
ideas and plans.
Unless the court thinks different, leave that annex line on there. And
We can
Yeah, y'all
discuss
agree?
it, tell Rick he can bring the quotes to court then.
What all you want to do
Well, we need to add a door, close that up, take out some walls
in the
in the,
We might need to
voting
discuss it.
room or the storage room or?
yeah, there's a wall that kind of needs to be moved in the voting room and then in the, where it'll be the election office. I need to get them 2 offices as one office.
You gotta show up with your sledgehammer and,
And already we have a diagram what we want done, and
Yeah.
Rick's already showed it to 2 different contractors.
Okay.
So he's kind of waiting on some
Where will
bids.
the election office be?
Across where JP and
Okay.
my office
Okay,
is
you're talking
now.
about joining them together?
Yeah, joining them,
Okay.
take out a wall
we
through
can take a look
joint,
at
that way.
too, or-
Yeah, that's
Space.
Yeah, but as far as, that's her space, we're not gonna.
Yeah.
It
move
shouldn't
all
be that
in.
much, just take out a wall and add a door here.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
you need to share with them what you want so they can get, unless you've already, I guess you've done it
I'd
with
share it
Rick.
with Rick, yeah, and he's already even talked to 2 contractors. He just thought we needed to let y'all know what's going on.
Okey doke. All right then, item number 25, believe it or not, is no action. 26 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding a proposed way station.
No action on that one either.
Okay, item 26 is no action. Item 27, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Prosperity Building.
No action.
Okay, that one actually,
Oh, there is, yes, there is.
there is. So the Prosperity, since Cooke County's the owner, the tenant over there, Tim Fogel, he is asking for permission. AT&T, it's at no cost to the county, and this is in the packet, but this is at no cost to the county, but they need Cooke County's permission to set up services with AT&T. It's at no cost to the county, but Tim is requesting that, and since we're the owner, or Cooke County's the owner, We have to approve it.
So
we're gonna
let
run
me
some
get this right now. We buy the building, they become tenants, then they want us to,
We have to approve the AT&T services,
all the-
but at no cost to Cooke County.
okay,
They're wanting to put in a line.
I know.
Yeah. But they want to run a pipe somewhere along the building, that's
Well,
what I
it
think.
has to do with, fiber and that sort of thing. There's only one way they could run it without boring and all sorts of things, I think.
I saw a drawing once, but it's not in the
Yeah.
agenda, but yeah.
Yeah, and it comes after they become tenants. Okay. Item
We
number,
need a motion on that then.
say again.
Motion to approve.
Okay, item number 27 is, Commissioner Snuggs has made the motion to approve the request from Prosperity Bank tenant to alter the what is the,
Well, it's installation of they have to have our permission to install it.
the fiber optics, isn't it?
Don't y'all provide the internet to?
I thought downtown y'all had everything.
Well, all the other things.
Yeah.
Let's don't go there.
Okay.
Like somebody need to see how they're gonna install it, I mean,
I
Yeah,
won't agree.
I don't want them just to come slap it on the building anywhere.
Well, it was, there was a diagram there with,
In
it's
that
gonna run
packet.
through piping and one sort
I've
of.
seen that.
They're just gonna attach it to the walls, or how are they gonna do that?
It was actually somehow sent to Patty, wasn't it? And then from Patty to
It's on
Melissa.
here, it's in the packet.
Yeah.
Your packet
Oh, the
given
drawing
you
in
now.
it?
Yeah, the drawing's in here.
It's in there.
They're gonna look like they're gonna go from the State Theater. It probably already goes underground right there and comes into the back of the bank.
I didn't think it did. They're going overhead, aren't they?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, they're gonna go overhead.
It's gonna go overhead.
On that pole, need to patch a pipe to the building. Yeah, that's not the end of the world there.
All right, so the motion's been made. Do I hear a second? Then I'll second. All right, motion's been made and I provided the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. There are none. All right, item 27 passes 5-0. Item 28, deliberate and consider possible action regarding various grant funds. Is this your, okay. I don't know that we have any action to take on any of this.
And Shelley's not here to discuss it.
That's right,
You
that's
know.
right. Actually, Shelley's here, but she just changed her appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, item 28 is no action. Item 29, do I hear a motion?
Second.
Motion Commissioner Snuggs, second Commissioner Arndt. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say
Gary,
no.
nobody leave, because I haven't got any of my signed documents back. So
Okay.
don't leave until you've signed both of them.